Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to show you all how to add Homebrew to your Nintendo Wii U using the Aroma custom firmware. But not only that, I am going to show you how to boot into the Tiramisu environment as well, that way you can access your legacy applications, meaning Homebrew that only works on the Tiramisu environment. And lastly, we'll be covering adding Homebrew to the VWii. Now this is really cool because if you want to do something like VWii emulation, which I have a video on which I'll link above, this will give you tons of options to play all sorts of different consoles, from Wii games to GameCube games, all the way to your retro systems like NES and SNES. So go ahead and take a look at that video, but let's go ahead and skip on to our prerequisites. Now, honestly, the only thing you're going to need here is an SD card. Now, I have a 128GB SD. I would go with a minimum of 8GB if you're going to be doing this, because you're going to be adding games, you're going to be doing stuff later on anyways, so you're better off just starting off with a bigger card. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that this guide will work with versions 5.5.6 for the North American consoles and versions 5.5.5 for all the others. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, so first things first on the PC, you're going to want to make sure your SD card is formatted to FAT32. You can see here I have my SD card open and it is Drive E. So we can go ahead and close this folder and we're going to go to this website called Ridgecrop Consultants, and it's going to give us a FAT32 formatting tool. So go ahead and click this picture, hit keep if it gives you the option, and go ahead and open the file where the tool is. So open GUI format, and again, this is going to format our SD card to FAT32. Before you use the tool, make sure you have all windows like these closed or the tool is not going to work. Go ahead and select your drive letter, and remember mine is E. You can see right here to the top, it's 127 gigs. If you're going to name your SD card, do not name it something like Wii U SD. I just have mine labeled SD. If you name it something with Wii U in it, it can interfere with the Homebrew process. So go ahead and just press start to continue and hit OK. And wait till it's done. Once it's done, we can go ahead and close out of this and head back over to our downloads. So everything we're going to be using here today is from the official guide, and we're just going to grab all of our downloads in one shot so we don't have to keep returning to the Wii U and back to the PC and back to the Wii U. So to start off, we're going to go with our Aroma downloads. So go ahead and click on the Aroma site here, and everything I'll link in the description below. And before you even make any downloads, it's going to make you read a couple of things. So it's going to make sure you read the blog post and understand the scope and limitations of this beta. I've already done this, but if you want to read that, I'd recommend checking this out. This will give you like basic usage and what Aroma can and can't do. You can also check the make sure SD card is not write protected while using Aroma. If you have an SD card with a lock switch on it, make sure it's unlocked when you have it in the Wii U or you might get this error. The next one is make sure to use the latest environment loader, which is provided on this page, which you'll get just by checking this. And then Aroma will receive frequent updates. So go ahead and check again. And then it takes you to our downloads. So we have three things we're going to download here today. We have the payloads, the base Aroma, and the plugins and modules. So under payloads, you can see environment loader is already selected. And next up, we have our NAND dumper. That's fine. Underneath that, we have our base automatically selected is Aroma. That's fine. And for our plugins, we have a bunch of optional things we can download. So Blue Pair is already checked. Blue Pair will let you pair different controllers to your Wii U, like a PS4 controller, for example. You also have Wii Load plugin, which is a load Homebrew and plugin via the network application. You have FTPU, which is an FTP server that runs in the background. You have SD Caffeine, which is great. I made a tutorial recently on how to make custom themes for the Wii U, and SD Caffeine is used for that. We have a screenshot plugin, which allows you to take screenshots. Why not? And then we have Swap Me, which allows you to swap the TV and gamepad screen. And then lastly, down here, it's for devs, so we're not going to check that. But I'm going to be taking all these. Feel free to uncheck whichever ones you don't want from here. But we're going to go ahead and go to Download Payloads, Download Base Aroma, and Download Plugins and Modules. After that's done, we can close out of this site. And we're going to head to the end of the Aroma guide where it's finalizing setup, because it gives you two applications, which is Save Me Mod, which is a Homebrew app that lets you manage your Wii U and VWii save data. Let's go ahead and download that. And then we'll download the Homebrew App Store. So we just click this, scroll down, and we're going to grab the Wii U extract to SD.zip. After that's done, we can close out of this. Scroll down to the bottom of the finalize page and you're going to see the tiramisu for your cafe. We're also going to grab that. So let's open up that hit download Tiramisu, and we can close out of this and start messing with our VWE files. So honestly, there is more VWE files on here than there are Wii U Aroma files. So it's going to look a little daunting just because there's so much that we're downloading, but the actual transferring it over to the SD card is super simple. So just stick with me here. So start off, we're going to grab the Compact Title Installer. This is what's going to install the Homebrew channel to our VWE. Just go ahead and hit download on that. Then we're also going to grab the Enhanced VWE Aroma plugin. Hit download on that as well. Close out of that. And then we're going to go down to the bottom, which is going to have us continue over to Preloader, which I have open in another tab. And we're going to grab the Preloader installer. Go ahead and clip the zip file here. Back out of that. And pretty much what Preloader does is add a whole nother level of brick protection to your Wii or VWE. And it loads before the Wii system menu does. So if you ever brick the VWE, you should be able to boot into Preloader first to attempt to try to fix your issue. Let's continue on. I'm going to grab the load Preloader zip here. And we're going to grab the zip file once again. Then we're going to grab the Preloader Wii U forwarder. Next up, we have our CIOS installer. What the CIOS installer does is if you ever want to play games from a USB hard drive or flash drive, like Wii games or GameCube games, you're going to need to do this in order to get those games functioning. Go ahead and download that. And then we'll go over to the finalizing setup portion of this. And this is what's going to give you the Me channel on the VWE, but it lacked a few features, so they beefed it up a little bit. We're going to need a WAD manager to install that, which we have yet another WAD manager. And we're going to grab the zip file here. Then we're going to go back and we're going to grab this script here for Windows, which is going to give us the WAD. And let's see. Yeah, we're also going to grab this patched iOS 80 installer as well. Go ahead and download that. And what the iOS 80 installer does is for the VWE, it's a homebrew app that will take your current install of iOS 80 and patch it to be able to run fake sign channels on the SD card menu, which is awesome, right? So that's pretty much it for our downloads, and now we can head over to structuring our SD card. Okay, so like you guys can see here, I have my downloads folder up on the left and my empty SD card over here on the right. We have all of our files here that should be zipped. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them all, and we're going to start extracting them. So I have 15 files here. You might have 16 if you have the FAT32 format tool there. But just go ahead and right-click all your zip files and hit Extract each archive to separate folder. After that's done, we can go ahead and delete the zip files, and this will just leave us with the folders that we need to toss on the SD card. Okay, so starting from the top of the list, we're going to start dragging everything over to the SD card. So with Aroma Beta 20, go ahead and open that up. We have a Wii U folder inside here. We're just going to drag that onto the root of our SD card. Then we're going to head back to our Downloads folder and go to our next folder, which should be our plugins for Aroma. Again, grab the Wii U folder, drag that over to the root of your SD card. Most of these Wii U folders should merge on their own, but if you don't, you should be able to do it manually, but we'll get there if that happens. Next up will be the Compact Title Installer. Highlight everything here, throw it onto the root of the SD card, and head back over to Downloads. Next up is the D2X CIOS installer. This is a VWE application, so on the root of our SD card, we need to right-click and create a new folder, and we're going to call it Apps, APPS. And we're just going to drag the CIOS installer directly into that folder, and then head back over to our Downloads. Next up, we have our environment loader for Aroma. Take the Wii U folder and throw it right on the root of our SD card. Go back to Downloads. Next up, this is our Tiramisu environment. So go ahead and open that up. Highlight this. Drag it to the root of the SD card. And this is the option I was telling you guys about. So if you see replace the files in destination, go ahead and do that. Go back to Downloads. Next one, we have this folder here. Drag this over to the root of the SD card. It's going to be a lot of that for most of these. Just replace if you get the option. We got the load preloader, which already has an apps folder, so we can just drag this onto the root of our SD card as well. Go to Downloads. We have the patched iOS 80 installer. It has its own apps folder, but again, we can drag the whole thing onto the root of our SD card. Should merge. Go to Downloads. We have preloader. which also has an apps folder, which we can grab, and we can toss that over to the root of the SD card as well. Hit downloads, and we're going to grab the preloader Wii U forwarder, highlight the Wii U folder, drag that over to the root of your SD card, go to downloads. We have the Save Me Mod port, which is just an application. Highlight this, drag it over to the root of the SD card, replace the files in destination. See what I mean, guys? Super simple. Most of these are all going on the root of the SD card. And we have the Wii U extract to SD. Highlight the Wii U folder, toss it on the root of the SD card. Now this one is yet another WAD manager. So if we open this up, it also has an apps folder. Toss that onto the root of the SD card. And now we need to make a folder on the SD card. So right click, new folder, and we're just going to call it WAD, W-A-D. And that file that we grabbed earlier, if you're running Windows, the Wii Me channel Windows here, we can just right click this and hit run with PowerShell and then hit open. And what it should do is automatically download a file here to your downloads folder. We'll just wait for it to appear. And that's going to be the Me Channel V6 WAD, which is going to go right into the WADs folder that we just created. And after that's done, we are done here on the SD card, and we can head over to the Wii U and start installing everything. Okay, so back on the Wii U, we have a couple of simple steps we're going to follow here. Go ahead and open up your internet browser, and yes, that means you're going to need to have your console connected to the internet. And just wait for it to load up. And now this next step is an extra one that I'm kind of giving you guys. Go ahead and go to the settings tab up top. Scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to go to reset save data. Most people probably aren't going to have an issue with this, but this will just clear some troubles from arising in the future for those select few who might have it. And from there, open up the internet browser again. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and type in our URL. Go up top, tap on that. And we're going to go to Wii U exploit .xyz. And then hit OK. So now we'll be greeted with this website that says 5.5.x exploit, and it'll tell you to run the exploit. What we're going to do is just tap Run Exploit and hold down the B button immediately, and do not let go. Hold on to it the entire time. I'll tell you when to let go. Keep holding it. You're going to see the screen changing here, but keep holding it. And you're going to let go once you see this screen. It's going to tell you you can select default, the forward image loader, or the NAND dumper. We're going to be dumping the NAND of our console now, so go ahead and go down to that. And then just hit the A button, and then hit the A button again to dump the NAND. This can take anywhere between, I don't know, I'd say 5 and 10 minutes, so I'll see you soon. Okay, so once it's all done with the NAND dump, your console should reboot back to the main menu. Now, if your console froze at any point in time during that, all you gotta do is just restart your console and start the process over again, including resetting the save data from the internet browser like I showed you. But assuming that everything went okay, we're going to go ahead and open the internet browser one more time and go back to that website. And again, that's wiiuexploit.xyz. And now from here, we're going to do the same thing with running the exploit, but this time after we tap it, we're going to hold down the X button the entire time. If done successfully, you should be greeted with the environment loader. And if you get a message at any point in time here telling you that you have an update folder that exists and press X to delete it, go ahead and delete it. Notice here how we have Tiramisu. We can also boot into that if we want to, but today we're going to be focusing on Aroma, but it's going to be the same process. Go ahead and select A on Aroma. And after that happens, you should be greeted with the boot selector, and we're going to press A on Wii U menu. Go ahead and wait for that to load up. Now, once your console boots up fully, you're going to notice your main menu looks a little different. We have a lot of new applications here, including the Payloader installer, which we're actually going to be using right now. So go ahead and open that up. After this loads, you're going to go ahead and hit A for check. And this is going to tell you if you can even do this to begin with. Afterwards, assuming you're okay, go ahead and hit install/update. and then go down to install. After that, should take maybe 10 seconds, and then press A to shut down the console. And when it's done, go ahead and just turn it back on. Okay, so now we actually have custom firmware installed on our Wii U, but every time we restart our console, whenever we want to use it, we have to open up the health and safety application. What I'm going to do right now is show you guys how to change that so it'll automatically boot into Aroma every time you turn the console on. So on Aroma, we're going to hit A because we're going to load it up. Then we're going to boot into our Wii U menu, press A again. We're just going to wait for the menu to load up. And now we're going to go back to that payload installer. Open this up again. Then we're going to hit check. And this time we're going to go down to boot options. And then select switch to payload loader. After that happens, it'll shut down your console again and then turn it back on once it shuts down. All right, now once you turn your console back on, you're going to see this screen every single time. What we're going to do is go ahead and press Y over Aroma. This will make it our default loader, and then press A. And then we're going to press Y over Wii U menu, and then press A again. And it'll make those two things the default, and now every time we turn our console off and back on again, we will be into Aroma. So now we can just briefly go over this. We have a couple applications here, the Aroma Updater, Blue Pair, Payload Installer, which we just used. We have the Save Me mod, we have the Homebrew App Store, and another thing that we have too, just to let you guys know for future use, if you hit the left shoulder, down on the D-pad, and the minus button all at the same time, you should be greeted with your plugin menu. If you ever need to access this for whatever reason, now you know how to do it. Go ahead and hit home to go back to that. I lost my little footing there. And now the next thing we can start doing is messing with our VWii, but to do that, you're gonna need a Wiimote. For those of you who don't have that, you can stop the tutorial here. There's really no harm, no foul, but modding your VWii does give you a lot more options in terms of playing extra games and just a whole other different world of modifications that you can play with. But continuing on, for those of you who want to see it, go ahead and open up the Compat installer. Once this opens up, it's going to tell you to press A to install the Homebrew channel to the Wii menu. Just go ahead and press A. And then we can hit home to exit. And then go ahead and hit close software. And now the next thing to do would be to open up the VWii and verify that we have the Homebrew channel. Yep, and sure enough, we have the Homebrew channel right here. So let's go ahead and open that up. Hit start. And we're almost done here, guys. This part's really simple as well. And now you should see we have a few applications on here that we're going to have to cycle through. And might as well start at the top with the D2X CIOS installer. Once again, you're going to need to do this application if you want to play games from a hard drive, again, like GameCube games or Wii games. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this, hit load, and we'll run through this. Go ahead and just let this run through everything. Press A to continue. And now we're going to start changing our settings. So you see select CIOS, go ahead and hit right, and you're going to see D2X V11 Beta 1 VWii. And then we're going to do select CIOS base, we're going to leave that at 56, and select CIOS slot, we're going to leave that at 249. If you don't have the option for V11 Beta 1, try reformatting your SD card. Make sure your SD card doesn't have the lock switch on, or try re-downloading the D2X CIOS installer application and trying this again. But assuming you have it like I do, go ahead and press A to continue, and it's going to run through and start patching this. After that's done, just press A to continue. Then we're going to go up to CIOS base. We're going to change this to 57, change the slot to 250, press A to continue. Let this do its thing again. And we're going to do this one more time. So A to continue, go up to the base, select 58, go down to the slot, select 251, and press A to continue. And when we're all done, just press A to continue. And that's it for this application. So just press B to exit, and this will take us back to the Homebrew launcher. And after that, we can go ahead and run the patch iOS 80 installer. Go ahead and open that up and hit load. It's going to make you read all of this, and it's even going to say at the bottom, read the big warning above for 30 seconds before continuing. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip through this, but I'd recommend you go ahead and read it on your end. And once you get the option that says press any button to continue, just press A. Let this do its thing. Should only take a few seconds. And when it's done, it'll say installation is complete. Press any button to exit. I'm just press the A button here, and this should take us back to the Homebrew launcher once again. After that's done, we can go into the preloader installer. So go ahead and open this up and hit load. And it just takes a minute for it to initialize. Once it's ready, just go ahead and hit the plus button, and that will install preloader. Press A to go back to preloader. And then from here, we're going to press the home button and we're going to configure preloader. So we can go ahead and go to exit to system menu. And this should take us to our preloader menu. And just as a future FYI, if you ever want to get back to this screen, we did install a forwarder for it now on the Wii U home menu. But continuing on, we're going to change some things here and go to system menu hacks. There's a couple of things I'm going to change here. Like you can see block online updates is disabled. We're going to enable that. We're also, let's see, let's scroll down here, go to more. I'm gonna remove deflicker because I'm not using a CRT TV right now. And what else do we have here? We're gonna go ahead and go to Wii system settings via the options button. We're gonna enable that as well. And after that, we can just save settings. Go ahead and press the B button. And then go back to the system menu or the Homebrew channel. Actually, let's go back to the Homebrew channel because we still have to run through our WAD manager. And now yet another WAD manager. Go ahead and open this up, same way as all the rest. And just give this a moment to load. And when it does, it'll say select your source device, which is just Wii SD card slot for me. Hit A. After that, you're going to see the one WAD we have in our WADs folder, which is the Mi Channel V6. Go ahead and hit A on that to install it. And then hit A to install one more time. When it's all done, it should just say finished installation. Hit OK, press any button to continue. If by chance you get an error code doing this, click on it, and when you have the option to install WAD or uninstall WAD, try hitting uninstall first and then try hitting install again and see if that fixes your issue. But after this, we can just hit the B button and head back to our menu, and then hit the home button to restart the Wii. And now that's pretty much it for your console. I mean, the Wii U now can run the Aroma custom firmware and the Tiramisu custom firmware. The VWii is now modded and fully set up for you guys to start installing games or pretty much anything you want. But before we end this video, I just want to take this back over to the PC one more time because we got one last thing we got to do. All right, guys, and this is the last thing we're going to be doing here today. If you look at your SD card, we have an OTP.bin, a CPROM.bin, an SLC.bin, and an SLCCMPT.bin. These here are your NAND dump files. If you ever brick your system, these are going to be very important for fixing your console should you ever break it. So I'd recommend backing these files up to your PC. You can throw them anywhere you want, but I'm just going to throw mine on the desktop for now. Go ahead and let this complete. And once that's done, you are all set. Your console is fully modded and you are ready to go. So now you might be wondering what's next. Well, I'd recommend taking a look around at my Wii U playlist on my channel. You might be interested in making your own custom themes for your console. We just recently pretty much got the ability to make 3DS level themes recently, and it's been really awesome. But I'll leave all that stuff down below in the description, and I'll catch you guys next time. Adios.